Alright, so we finally got all the upgrade parts that I was waiting for the Mini Crawler Pro, so we're going to get started on the build footage. So here we have the Mini Crawler itself, the Novak 380 18.5 turn censored brushless motor. It's the crawler motor. Here we have two sets of the 30-degree bent links. We got the 3 racing steering link and the Losi C-hubs, aluminum C-hubs, forgot to mention that, and the aluminum steering knuckles. These are the Zero Ackerman MRC Pro ones. And here we have aluminum rear lockouts. Alright, so now I'm going to start with the teardown. Tires off. Make sure to put those drive pins somewhere safe so you don't lose them. And the body, throw that to the side. Get rid of all these tie wraps and remove the receiver. And here probably the hardest part is the looming, so you gotta fish all the wiring through that. And now we're good to start on the motor. So 2 screws and the pinion gear needs to come off. Everything will fall out of the mount. We have 2 bullet connectors at the top. I used shrink wrapping to hold them together, so I have to cut that off. Now with the motor out, I'm ready to fish out the ESC. And here's the motor I'll be replacing, or replacing with, should I say. Novak 380. So we're going to reassemble that just as we took it out. 2 screws and then the pinion. And now on to the rear lockouts. So we're going to remove the stock plastic one, get the bearings out, reinsert, and 2 screws to finish that off. Alright, so now to the front. Remove the front knuckles, or the steering knuckles, so 1 screw at the bottom and screw at the top. And those should just pop off. Disconnect it from the steering link itself. Push all the bearings out of the steering knuckles. Take the drive axle out. And I just noticed we're going to have to remove the servo and the servo mounting plate to be able to get access to the steering knuckles, or sorry, the C-hub screws. So 3 screws here. Tuck it to the side. And now, just as the lockouts, we're going to have 1 screw at the bottom and then 1 screw at the top. C-hub will just fall out. And remove the bearing, replace, and reinstall. Alright, so here we have 1 screw at the bottom, another one at the top, and the C-hub is reinstalled. Right, and now we're just going to remount that battery tray, servo tray, I guess. 3 screws, that's back in place. Reinstall the drive axles, steering hub, make sure to put your bearings in there. Or steering knuckle, I keep changing the, the wording. So 1 screw at the top, 1 screw at the bottom again. Remove the old stock plastic link, and that's going to be replaced with the new 3 racing aluminum one. So given that we're going into aluminum, we're going to have to add a little bit of thread lock to make sure nothing backs out on us. Just secure that to the steering knuckle. Same on both sides, more thread lock. Make sure we're snug, and that's complete. Alright, for the servo now, the 2 screws. Make sure we're nice and snug. We're ready to move on to the final piece of the steering link. Right, so now that's done. I'm going to move over to the lower links. I figured it'd be easier here if I just remove the 1 screw at the bottom and just remove it from the ball end itself. So remove the one from the chassis. Just use the driver to make it easier to take the second one off. And we're just going to reinstall the bent link as we took off the first one. Alright, so I'll thread it back into the one in the chassis. Reinstall it with the one screw. If we can ever get it lined up here. It's hard with this suspension compression on there. Alright, so that's done. Now we're going to have to fab up a custom ESC tray, given that we moved the placement of the ESC from the front to the back. So here we're just going to mock it up real quick. Make sure we don't get any rub off of the upper links. A couple of little snips. Do one more test here. And we're just going to drill those holes off camera and come back with the finished plate. Alright, so plate's done. 2 screws through the chassis. You're going to secure the plate. And once that's done here, you're going to be ready to mount that ESC. Perfect. Alright, so double-sided servo tape. Dubro, I think, makes this one. That's all we're going to use to secure the ESC. Alright, so we're not fitting underneath with the tape. We're going to have to mount it from the top. Alright, so we're just going to push that down, make sure it's nice and secure on that plate, and move on to the receiver. So, 2-sided tape on the top of the transmission, and we're just going to apply the receiver right on top. Alright, so I'm going to fish all the wiring through. Make sure we don't have any binding here. And I'm just going to clean that up, get everything tie wrapped off screen here. And we'll pop back in once it's all done. Alright, so it's all tied in now. Looks nice and clean. No wires around any moving parts. Knuckles, everything's lined up. No binding. Articulation's free. And those rear lockouts look really nice. Alright, so you get the tires installed and give you one last look at the rig all completed. So as we took them off, going to reinstall the drive pins, put the tire back in, tighten the nut, and the tires are done. Alright, so this is what we're left with, the finished product. Got the aluminum where it counts, steering links, C-hubs, steering knuckles. Got the 30-degree high clearance links. New brushless censored crawler motor. Those aluminum rear lockouts. We're pretty much dead on the modification for that. Hopefully get a chance to test that on the rocks at GTA soon. So guys, thanks for watching. Please thumbs up and subscribe.